Hi, I'm Andrew Ward. I'm the treasurer for Northampton Outlaws. My Outlaws number is number 60. I'm straight and my pronouns are he, him. And today we're going to be talking to Jordan.
Hello. How you doing?
Good yourself.
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Thanks, buddy. So this is all very new for me.
Yeah. Good. Ambushed you. So a little introduction of yourself, please, Jordan, if you wouldn't mind.
Okay, so I am Jordan Sinclair. I am a big old heifer. I'm gay. Play flanker, second row, back row. Can't remember my number for the life of me. It's 300 and something. And yeah, so that's not that'll do it for the moment.
I'm sure we'll get more out of you. No, good stuff. Right, let's get into it, shall we? So, what comes to mind, Jordan, when you think of LGBT spaces or groups?
I look at them as a sort of safe environment, an opportunity for people to come out of their shells, explore their own identities, and be able to feel welcomed in an environment where they're not going to be judged. I think it's a fantastic opportunity for everyone to experience, question, and find out things not only about themselves, but people around them as well.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So then, when you think of a traditional rugby club, then what images come to mind then?
Fat, burly, middle-aged men getting away from their wives, getting absolutely intoxicated, and forgetting the crucial part of deodorant.
Delightful.
Well, basically everything I experienced in Luton, really.
So, following on from that then, so what did you think a gay rugby club would be like?
I didn't know. Prior to joining the Outlaws, I just thought, I'll have a look, I'll look to get involved. I thought it'll probably be a great inclusive setting. There'll probably be a couple of straight lads who just want to try and get into rugby. There'll probably be a huge eclectic range of different types of people that wanting to take part and not only do the sports side of it, but the social side of things as well.
Eclectic range, I like that. Good. Did you get what you thought in terms of a range of people?
Oh, certainly. It could not be more eclectic. It was an eye opener. It was needed. It was certainly needed joining the Outlaws, because I mean, I live by myself. I moved up to Northamptonshire for work, and God, I must have been here a good 2.5 years before I even mustered up the courage to actually go ahead for it. So I think if I didn't do the 3-month fitness course with Northampton Saints through work, I don't even think I would have had the confidence to even come forward. So yeah, I'm glad I did.
Yeah, good. No, we're glad you did as well. So you don't regret it.
Oh God, no. God, no.
Good. So then, how has the Outlaws changed your view of rugby clubs, teams?
Well, do you know what the weird thing is? They haven't. And I think that's mainly because I was very fortunate. When I was in Luton, when I came out, rugby teams treated me no different. So they were always inclusive of anyone that wanted to join. And that was the most important thing, really. And the nicest part of it was to see that actually inclusive rugby still had that camaraderie, that sort of friendship, that family circle in essence. And that to me was something I was a little bit more concerned with. I was more concerned about the stereotypes, as it were, where most gay men bitch about each other. And that was the one thing that I was most Exactly. That's the one thing I was mostly concerned of. And it was so happy to see that it wasn't like that. And it just made me feel more comfortable just being me. Because over many years of living by myself and moving around from work to work, even now, some days I still forget who I am. And with being in the Outlaws, I can just be myself. I don't have to hide anything.
Ah, good.
Be as big as tit as I am.
Right, there's a few of us knocking around, isn't there? So obviously Outlaws has not necessarily changed your views, but reinforced the positive sort of aspects of rugby teams. What has it changed your views in any way of, about the gay scene?
Ooh, now that's a big one. Because again, I'm from Luton, and there's a huge gay scene there. And so when I was there, everyone knew each other because it was one of two clubs. So you couldn't get away from it. And then coming up here, I knew next to no one. And outside of rugby, I still don't know that many people. So in essence of the whole gay scene and everything, it didn't really broaden my scope of anything. But what it did help me do is connect with more people, which was so much nicer. I mean, I've made friends thanks to some of the tournaments we've had and trips. Friends in Bristol, friends up in Leeds, Manchester. So I'm really lucky in a way, because it's really helping me build my confidence to socialize and chat with people again. Because I was as big and bold and weird as I am, deep down I'm shy. I'm a hermit. I suffer with anxiety and doing stuff like this, funnily enough. So I'm great at putting up a front, but deep down, behind closed doors, I'm petrified. And so it's really helped me sort of tease the door open on it and push me to not be as afraid as much.
Oh, good. You haven't seen the rest of the questions yet, though. So
No,
I kid. It's fairly soft. So now.
No comments.
Now, let's behave ourselves. So obviously you mentioned there. So the next one was: have you had any previous playing experience?
So I was very lucky. So when I was growing up, I used to play rugby for Luton, rugby club, and that sort of 50-50, it was amazing, but it was also incredibly detrimental and harrowing to a point, because when I was much younger, my father got diagnosed with bowel cancer, and we'd recently returned from a tour. Now, I was 15 at the time, nearly 16. And so the person who was running Luton Rugby Club at the time was very power hungry and prominent. And he liked to push people and blackmail people for money and stuff like that. And one time he tried to blackmail my father, who was terminally ill. And due to that, my entire team in that age bracket, we completely disbanded. It broke us all apart. And so I went over to play for Foxhall Motors, which was also in Luton at the time. Luton, very lucky, has about 5 local rugby clubs, especially in little villages around it as well. So I played for Foxhall, and I was so lucky with them. It was just a bunch of big, burly, middle-aged men, or even older, and they were absolute nutcases. And I still stayed in touch with a lot of the close friends that I had made through Luton Rugby Club as well. And yeah, it was an amazing experience, and they opened me up in open arms and everything. And there's some crazy stories to be had. I wish I'd be able to say them, but for the life of me, half of them I can't remember.
Why?
I wonder why.
I wonder what.
But no, I was very lucky. Unfortunately, my father did eventually pass away, and the whole rugby side of things for me just dropped. It just dwindled rapidly because I didn't have that bond, that tie that I used to have, because it was something for me and my dad to do. We would go to rugby every weekend, and that just dwindled off as much as friends tried to keep me going. And it's something I regret really, because I should have kept it up. But when you deal with anxiety and trauma and stuff like that,
Yeah.
it's very hard not to isolate yourself, shut down, and build
Yeah.
up your walls. And that was one of the things I wanted to get over. I wanted to break those barriers down again, because I did miss rugby a lot. And doing that fitness session, I just needed to get back into it. I needed that social life again, to have friends, to have people by my side.
Expose you.
Someone to look over my shoulder whilst I look over theirs. And I just took the courage to ask about the local club, and I'm really glad I did.
No, good. So that sort of leads quite nicely onto the next one, which was like, how did you feel before your first training session?
Oh, nervous as all hell. Because basically it was just all, I didn't know anyone from the Outlaws. And so for me, it was one of those things where I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what I was going to get myself into. But I knew that I weren't going to find out if I didn't bother going for it. So
Did you have
I
any
just
sort
pushed
of
myself.
preconceptions going in, or were you going in with quite a blank canvas to see
I was
what happened?
going in with a blank canvas, as it were. I was like, I'd looked up the website first, and I saw the people winning, and I thought, this is actually a team that takes things seriously. It's not going to be one of those things where I'm just going to turn up. Everyone's going to be talking about their next grinder meet and this, that, and the other. And I'm so glad it's not like that at all.
Nice. Strikes a nice balance, you think, between all the
Oh,
different.
definitely, 100%.
So you've done your first training session then. So how did you feel after your first training session?
After my, that's a good question. It's a little while ago now. I felt like I found somewhere special, because I came in, took part, chatting to a bunch of people, and even though I was still nervous, I was happy inside. I was comfortable, and that was the most important thing for me, is just feeling comfortable. And so I'm really, really glad that I didn't bail and run back behind my closed doors.
Stuck it out for you.
Exactly.
No, good. So what advice then would you give to a new member, you don't know, or someone out there now watching this right now
Ooh.
who is thinking of getting involved? What would you say to that person?
I would say, doesn't matter whether you're gay, straight, bi, transgender, anything, do it, because it's not just about the sport, it's the support network, it's the friends you can make along the way, it's the different sort of things that you can get involved in. It's that camaraderie, like I was saying before, I'm probably butchering the word, I don't care. But it's just that aspect of having somewhere where you can go to, not feel judged, and just take part in something and be yourself. And there's so few places out there where people can feel safe to do that. And gay rugby teams, and I'd actually say for most part, majority of rugby teams actually are incredibly safe spaces to go. I was very lucky. Not a single rugby club that I played for ever gave two hoots about my sexual identity. And there's always banter, but we've also got to remember that people take the whole PC thing a bit too seriously. Just because someone turns around to someone and say, "Oh, faggot, want a beer," doesn't actually mean they're being rude. It's just something that people bond over. It's a little laugh. There's no judgment behind it, or hatred, or sinisterism behind those words. It's just a little bit of a laugh, and actually, that's relatively tame considering what most of them say to each other as it is.
Yeah. You think outlaws and maybe sort of just rugby clubs as a whole, obviously not massive experience with a lot of them, but do you think they strike the right balance with that? Do you think?
I think especially rugby, especially if you compare it to any other sport, like say football, rugby is incredibly open and an amazing support network. And if you want that extra little comfort, especially if you're struggling with your sexual identity or gender or something like that, oh, by all means, please go for an LGBT rugby club or something similar, because you don't realize the sort of doors it opens for you, the positive aspects you can put back onto yourself, and all those wonderful little things that you really take for granted.
No, nice. Right, so I'll put you on the spot now. So if you could describe the Outlaws in 3 words, what would they be?
Oh God. Ooh, that's interesting. Useless, clumsy, and fat. No. Sorry, I'm talking about myself there. No, inclusive, supportive, and fun. And I think those are 3 very important things. Yes, it's okay to be determined and adamant and professional, but at the end of the day, most people turn up for the fun, for the friendships, for that support network. And if people don't see that,
No.
people might not want to even attempt it, let alone stay.
Yeah, it's important to get that aspect out of it, as well as that sort of that competitive aspect, because we all want to play and win on a Saturday, don't we? But it's
Exactly.
That
And that's the thing. It's okay for me to say competitive, bruisers, destruction, but actually that's so
destruction all over this. Come on.
But it's okay to say that to certain people who have rugby experience, but those are sort of words that could break someone's spirit if they wanted to attempt it and they have no idea what they're going in for. When you look at the type of guys that we've got people that are like 5.5 foot and as scrawny as a rake, and other guys that are like 7 foot tall that can just about get through the door. We're all different. We're all unique. We've all got a special role to bring in. And that's why we have different level teams in it as well. We all get together, but we've always got something different for different people's abilities. And that's why I stick with the words supportive, fun, and inclusive. Definitely those 3.
Perfect. Spot on. So thank you, Jordan, for your time.
My pleasure.
It's been as fun as and interesting for you. We've all been through it.
That's fine. I will be giving me 10 minutes. I'll be curling up under a blanket, shivering, going, "What have I done?"
I can't wait to see who you pass it on to. The next
album. Enough of that. I'm single. Thank you very much.
So they can tackle these questions too.
This would be very interesting to see.
Good stuff, mate. No, thank you for that. Enjoyed that.
Thank you very much. My pleasure. And it's wonderful to take part in something like this. It's really good to be able to spread the word, show the positivity, and give an insight into people's history and know that they're not the only ones going through hard times and sometimes mental anguish in between them.
It'll be good to get back out there, won't it? See everyone in the flesh. And
oh, definitely. I'm give it a couple of months going back into it, I might actually be able to fit into my wardrobe again.
I mean, the excuse is the shirts came small, so that's the excuse, isn't it, really?
I can't really use that excuse because I couldn't bloody get into the thing in the first place.
Brilliant. No, thanks for that, Jordan. Enjoyed that. This chap was back. You're there. You're back.
Thank you for watching the interview with an outlaw. If you like what you saw, please click like. And if this is the first time you're here, why not hit subscribe for more from our channel? We release 5 every Friday, so let's see who will pass it on next.